Welcome to Sundust Short Horror Stories, the podcast where we plunge into the darkest corners of the unexplained. Real tales from listeners like you, pulled from the fringes of nightmare and reality. Tonight's episode features a chilling submission from an anonymous soul isolated deep in the wilderness. Brace yourself for abduction in the woods. Turn off the lights, lock your doors, and whatever you do, don't look out the window. I love living in the woods. I have a small 2-bedroom house that sits 5 miles off the main road. With no neighbors around for miles, I've never had any real issues out here. The huge yard keeps most wildlife at bay, and animals rarely come poking their noses into my business. I'm a firm believer in UFOs and aliens, though I've never experienced anything myself. I just can't wrap my head around the idea that the universe is so vast, yet Earth is the only planet with life. Then one night, my theories were proven right, in the worst way possible. I was alone at home, lying in bed, not quite asleep, but scrolling through Facebook on my tablet. My eyes were getting heavy when I noticed a strange light deep in the woods beyond my window. This wasn't some ordinary flashlight beam. It was massive, pointed straight up toward the sky, and it shifted colors. First silver, then gold, and finally a bright bronze. I was mesmerized. Curiosity got the better of me, and I had to investigate. Of course, I grabbed my .38 special revolver. I never venture into those woods unarmed, especially at night. My area is known for bears, cougars, and coyotes, predators that don't take kindly to intruders. I rushed outside, hopped on my 4-wheeler, and headed toward the glow. Before long, I knew I was close. I could even hear a strange noise, like a hammer striking metal, rhythmic and unnatural. I killed the engine on the ATV and proceeded on foot, not wanting to announce my presence. Creeping through the underbrush, I finally reached the source. To my utter amazement, there hovered some kind of ship, suspended in the air just above the smaller trees. It wasn't enormous, maybe big enough for 5 people at most, but it was undeniably real. The area was bathed in that shifting light, so I stayed hidden in the shadows at the edge of the clearing. If I stepped any farther, I'd be fully exposed. Then I saw them, 3 figures walking beneath the craft. They didn't look alien at all. In fact, they looked exactly like humans, ordinary people just like me. I edged closer, heart pounding, and spotted what looked like a gurney. One of them lifted a sheet draped over it, revealing a body underneath. I gasped, clamping a hand over my mouth in horror. What the hell was this? They unceremoniously dumped the body onto the ground. Moments later, a spherical beam of light descended from the craft. The 3 figures stepped into it and vanished. The ship lingered for a few seconds before silently ascending and disappearing into the night sky. I waited, frozen in place, until I was sure it was gone. Only then did I approach the body, which lay motionless in the dirt. With the craft departed, total darkness swallowed the woods. I pulled my spotlight from my bag and shone it on the figure. It was a woman, about my age, and she was most definitely dead, pale, lifeless, with no signs of injury that I could see. I called 911 right away and reported finding a body. I didn't breathe a word about the ship or the figures. Instead, I spun a story. I'd been out searching for a bear that had been stalking my property for weeks. A few days later, the police got back to me. The woman had been identified. She'd been reported missing a month earlier while hiking in a state park about 25 miles away. They were baffled as to how she'd ended up here, and the coroner chalked her death up to exposure to the elements. No trauma, no signs of struggle, just dead, as if she'd been plucked from one place and dropped in another. Of course, I hear stories like this all the time, hikers vanishing on trails only to turn up miles away, sometimes weeks or months later, with no explanation for how they got their clothes folded neatly, no footprints leading to the body, unexplained disappearances in the wild. Well, now I think I have a pretty good idea of what's really going on out here in the woods. And sometimes late at night I catch myself staring out the window, wondering if that light will return, wondering if they'll come back for her, or maybe for someone else, like me. That wraps up tonight's tale on Sundust Short Horror Stories. If it sent chills down your spine, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review. It helps more lost souls find our little corner of the dark. Got your own brush with the shadows, a true story that still haunts you? Send it in. We might feature it next. Thanks for listening. Sleep with the lights on. If you dare, good night.